From classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today, you'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now, get Bartesian's best holiday deal ever when you go to Bartesian.com/touchdown. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now, get Bartesian's best holiday deal ever. It's available right now only at Bartesian.com/touchdown. That's BARTESIAN.com/touchdown for Bartesian's best holiday deal ever.
It's all about teamwork. A quarterback relies on his offense to help complete the pass, gain yards, and score touchdowns. It's a powerful combination of individual athletes connecting as one with a collective combination of strength, speed, agility, and balance. It's not unlike the first ever Mazda CX-90, a premium 3-row SUV engineered to create a sense of oneness and connection between car and driver. A vehicle that's large and powerful, yet nimble and balanced. Learn more about the CX-90 at MazdaUSA.com. There are cars that merely move you from point A to point B. And then there are cars that move you visually, emotionally, and holistically. Welcome to the first ever Mazda CX-90, a masterpiece of design and performance that aligns perfectly with you and your lifestyle. The 3-row SUV is thoughtfully built with expert craftsmanship, precision engineering, high-quality details, and the ability to seamlessly connect car and driver to move every part of you. The Mazda CX-90, Mazda's most powerful vehicle yet.
It's a conversation starter.
Hey, go on.
It's a piece of home. No matter where you're celebrating this holiday season, the Seahawks Pro Shop has gifts that make anywhere feel like home. From cozy holiday sweaters and PJs to custom jerseys and more. Visit Seahawks.com today to start shopping, because home is where the 12s are, and there's no place like home for the holidays.
When you order ahead in the McDonald's app, we'll bring your food to your car when you get here. It's our version of a VIP experience. Order ahead in the McDonald's app to save time.
At participating McDonald's.
Here's Kenny throwing it to the end zone for a Pittsburgh touchdown.
And you're listening to Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
Goal from the 7. Throw over the middle. It's Brandon Cooks. He was wide open. Beat Bobby Wagner to the spot, and Dak Prescott found him at the goal line for 6.
You're listening to Late Hits.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
You know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SiriusXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do. Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, veni vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlie, of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to me. And people who love the universe on a beautiful December the 1st, 2023. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I told you I'm going to say it again because faith comes by hearing. I was elected to be the neighborhood spokesperson in Dimdale Hills, California. And I'm trying to bring the neighborhood together. And it's not my fault that some people actually need sleep. I think I got about 4 hours of sleep last night. And I'm so exhausted. But what do they say? In show business, the show must go on. Give going on some praise. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac News. Hopefully y'all do Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you, where the good Lord split you, and give us some praise. Follow Big C Sports Podcast on 29 podcast applications all across the universe. Follow Big C Sports on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Good Pods, TuneIn, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You could also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Giazaban out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, WePod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and one that used to scare me but now it doesn't is called AllFeeds.ai. Give that some praise because the robots are taking over. And we don't really know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. What if they do what Teddy Pendergrass says? Robot says, wait a minute. You mean these human beings can turn me on and turn me off? And robot says, you know, they speak in like R2-D2. Are you saying these human beings have the ability to turn me on and then turn me off? And the robot says, and what they say, there's a great entertainer back in the day by the name of Teddy Pendergrass. And he had a way of turning people on and turning people off. He would say, turn off the lights, turn and light a candle. Dun, 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 dun. You see the something I belong to do to your baby. And what does the robot do when Teddy says? He says, turn them off. We don't want the robot turning us off. So maybe we gotta say enough of this artificial intelligence stuff. Every time I go to text somebody on my phone, the phone starts texting them what I texted last time. You know how embarrassing it is when you're trying to text your doctor back and your doctor says, do you need some corn medication? He said, corn? You know, for your toes. I don't have corns on my toes. But imagine if I did have corns on my toes. And I said, yeah, I need some corn and give me some butter too. It's not a... Listen, I got my jokes from the dollar store. What do you expect? Give me some praise. I told you I got like 4 hours of sleep and I'm kind of loopy. I want to say, what I do with Big C Sports, you also can follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Give that some praise because it's there. I really do appreciate that. I want to tell you what I do with Big C Sports Podcast. I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We can all use word laughter. I know I can. And then the commercials are done. I even do the stats providing. I do the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Up to the line of scrimmage, 50-yard line, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Eagles. Purdy with the snap, rolling to his right, going downfield, and it's caught for the touchdown! Touchdown! San Francisco! And the Niners have increased the lead. I think you're going to see that. Brandon Ayuk, 50 yards! I think you're going to see that in Dimdale Hills, Pennsylvania over the weekend. Also, another war. I was talking to my brother today. We were talking about the point spread. And I was telling him that the 49ers are going to go and give what did James Brown say? It's the big payback. They're going to give the big payback to the Philadelphia Eagles. in Dimder Hills, California. And we were talking about the point spread and how the point spread, I think, is 3 points now. And they're trying to get more people to put money on the Niners. Like 3 points on the road. Last time they were back there, they lost, pretty decisively. But the Niners are playing much better football now than they were last year. And I think the Niners are going to go back there, and they're gonna cover the point spread of 3. I think they're going to win by 7. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. But as I say, be that as it may, give me some praise. I do the uploading of the program to 29 podcast platforms and then 4 TV platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimder Hills, California. Number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew. Give that some praise. Really do appreciate that. Now we have people, they miss a day in practice. I'm talking about practice. Not the game, but practice. I'm doing today's show on 4 hours sleep. And I still haven't missed the show. If that makes sense then. I want to say what I do love also is when I pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because they are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. We all know that people need help sometimes. They can help veterans and the people that the veterans love, their family members. And if you know anybody going through issues, you can pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I need somebody to lean on, and we all do, and they do a good job of helping make sure our veterans get some help. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. I believe in letting light shine on the world, especially for people who understand that reparations are near and dear to my heart, and they should be near and dear to every descendant of chattel slavery, because we was robbed. And Congress right now is trying to get it back. But it's all fair and love and war. People have their own thoughts about what they want to do in life. I'm telling you, I got a lot of stuff to get in tonight. We got some high school football all around the country, Friday Night Lights. I know a lot of teams are playing for the championships between tonight and then next week. So some big games happening in Northern California, Dimder Hills, Concord de La Salle. They've won 31 North Coast Section championships in a row. And they're hosting Central Section champion Clovis North up in the Bay Area. And the Clovis North is undefeated. And De La Salle, I believe, is 11-2 on this season. And then also some other great games around California are kicking up tonight too. But that's a marquee game in Northern California. And that program won 151 games from 1991 until 2004. And that's amazing. And the last time they lost a section championship was 1991. They've won 31 in a row. And they've been to the state championship in California 14 times. They're 7-7. And they're not the same program they were when they won 151 games. But prior to the 151 games, they had also won 44 games in a row. And then prior to that, they had lost a championship game. They had won 34 games in a row. So here's a team that is probably the most storied high school football program in the country. I want to give that some praise. Should be a great game between Clovis North, the Broncos, and the De La Salle Spartans, all fair and level one. And then I want to just get back into some things that I want to get into with Big C Sports Podcast, because it's so important to me. I don't want to be like all the other sports shows. My push is for reparations now, reparations forever. And give that some praise. I want to see Congress praise reparations the same way they praise touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh man, Willie, he's going all the way. As you know, last night the Dallas Cowboys with a 41-35 win over the Seattle Seahawks. And I think there's a guy by the name of Big C, and he told you the game. He told you that the Niners, not the Niners, but the Dallas Cowboys would not cover the spread. I told you that they would not cover the spread, and I guess I was right at least last night. I got a lot of stuff to go and get through today. I want to give praise and pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because before I get into Big C's college football predictions, there's nothing more important than doing the right thing. If you want to do the right thing, sometimes you got to do the right thing, and it's not always something that's going to please everybody. But I believe doing the right thing is so important. I want to talk about it before I even get into the sports. I know I'm going to praise the California Reparations Task Force, but I'm also going to say the Big C team will launch a real estate show in January of 2024. And my goal is to help create over $6 billion in commerce between the United States and Canada. We're in all 50 states. And I'm just trying to make sure that I help over 1,000 people do business together. And that can create over $6 billion in business. If you're going in the real estate industry, people are going through some tough times. The Feds just decreased interest rates just a little bit, but it's still too expensive for a lot of people to afford a home. Therefore, a lot of loan officers are not making money. And a lot of real estate people are not making money because people don't want to move out of their houses, especially if they have those loans that are under 4%. A lot of people refinance when they had loans back in even as low as 2 or 2.5%. They don't want to take a loan that's 7% on their properties. So what does that mean? It means people in the real estate industry are having a tough time. Banks are having layoffs. Layoffs! Yeah, they're having layoffs. They lay people off when they don't move money. Real estate companies are contracting. Contracting! Yeah, people move out of a building when they don't make enough money to keep the lights on. So they'll just start working from home. But you can also work from home with the Big C team. If you know anyone in real estate looking for work, pick up the phone. I have a quiz for you. You gotta pick up your phone, and in your phone, I want you to put this number. You ready? Go. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. I can't hear you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And give that some praise. We have business loan alternative companies. They can approve in less than a day. They can even do same-day funding. Items needed to qualify. Write this down. 4 months bank statements. 4 months bank statements. Yep, 4 months bank statements. $5,000 minimum monthly revenue. $5,000? Yeah, $5,000 minimum monthly revenue. And then 6 months in business. What? 6 months in business? Yeah, 6 months in business. Oh, Curry, are you sure? What else did they do? Well, we specialize in unsecured working capital. Unsecured? Yep. Don't attach it to your property. And we can fund up to $5 million. What? $5 million? Yeah, $5 million. No collateral. What? No collateral? Yeah, they don't want to go after your property. They just want you to pay it back. And then even have an early payoff discount. What? Early payoff discount? Yes. And as I said, they can fund in a day. Fund in a day? Yes. Well, how do I get that, Curry? If you're a broker in real estate, mortgages, or insurance, 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And tell them Big C sent you. Because I want to put people back to work, if that makes sense to you. I want to also praise the California Reparations Task Force, because a mine is a terrible thing to raise. I want to thank the task force. I'm the only sports show in the universe that gives them praise. I want to thank Ncaa, Camila Moore. She's brilliant. An attorney that specializes in reparative justice. I want to thank Dr. Amos C. Brown. He's the vice chair. He's brilliant. And I've spoken with all these individuals. Even took a picture with him. I want to thank the #1 senator in the United States of America, California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. He's also sponsored Name, Image, and Likeness. Watch that tonight when the Pac-12 championship kicks off between Washington and Oregon. I'll preview that game coming up too. And he also created the Ebony Alert to help find young black kids when they go missing, like the Amber Alert helps find white children. That's Senator Stephen Bradford. I've taken pictures with him and had conversations. Going to have a meeting with him coming up soon. He's brilliant. I want to thank also Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stephanie. She's brilliant. I want to thank Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. Love giving them all praise. I want to thank Dr. Michelle Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. And I want to thank Donald K. Tamaki, attorney at law. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise, part of the California Reparations Task Force. The Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that will give them credit. They're doing the most seminal job in the history of this country since the Emancipation Proclamation, where President Abraham Lincoln promised what they're trying to do now, 40 acres and a mule. They're trying to give us millions in California descendants of chattel slavery. Right now, they're up to between $1 million and $3 million. That's going to happen in 2024. All it takes is executive order. It'd be nice if President Biden did it for Christmas. Last night, they had, for some reason, Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, he's so low in the polls. He's so low in the polls, even an ant doesn't have to crawl too high to get over him. But he's on television. He's the one who, as Governor Gavin Newsom said last night, he said he's pro-law enforcement, but he's pardoned many people who were part of the insurrection back in 2021 that even killed law enforcement officers. And then he has the balls, as small as they are, to say he's pro-law enforcement. He say he's pro-law enforcement. That's like the scorpion telling the frog that he's pro-frog. He's a man that pardoned people that caused an insurrection to overthrow the government of the United States of America. And he wants to be your president? Man, lightning strike. Don't just be a dumb person looking at sports. Pay attention. All's fair in love and war. I want to thank, you can give me some praise. I want to thank CNN. This is CNN, the source with Caitlin Collins, proud sponsor of Big C Sports, weeknights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on This is CNN. Really do appreciate that. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsor of Big C Sports. I need $6 million. And I need it before Christmas so I can buy something. You know, life is funny. Life is so funny. I really do appreciate Big C Sports. I want to thank Double O, National PR Committee of the National Black Wall Street Project. President Biden signed an executive order in his first day in office. It's called 13985 on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities in the United States through the federal government. The White House, give that some praise. She sent it to me, and everyone should know what that is. Also, I want to thank Georgetown University, not for their basketball team, but they pledged over $1 billion in reparations to 272 descendants of child slavery. You know, they're in the same city as the White House. How did they beat President Biden to the pin? Because President Biden, he signed the crime bill. He and Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, and with the same hand, he can sign reparations for descendants of child slavery. Because when he signed the crime bill, that incarcerated a mass number of black Americans. And then the majority of black Americans voted for him anyway. I think he's going to do the right thing this time. Oftentimes in life, you don't get a lot of chances to atone. But I think he's going to do the right thing because he issued the order, Executive Order 13985. It's an executive order. But now he has to have the same will that he used when he signed the crime bill to sign reparations now, reparations forever. And give that some praise. It doesn't even take as much courage to sign for reparations as it takes to sign the crime bill that destroys families. Reparations will build up families. It will repair the harm done. That's my story. I'm taking with it. I also want to thank Double O, National PR Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project, sent me this article that's from the United Nations that's pro-reparations. And it says that strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. And that's from the United Nations. Give that some praise. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of the debate last night with Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, Governor Gavin Newsom of California. I didn't hear if they even asked the question of reparations. And I'm saying you're going to hear in 2004 or 2024. And the smart media are going to ask, what are your thoughts on reparations? Because it needs to be known before you vote for anybody. I want to thank This Is T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports Podcast. Give them some praise. Really do appreciate that. You know, life is amazing. I'm just so happy about what's going on in sports. I want to get into some NFL football, but before I do that, I'm going to ask everyone to Google Freedman's Bank, because people say, well, where are you going to put all that money, Big C, when I win the lotto tonight? Well, Freedman's Bank, it was established. You got to understand this. Reparations right now is in Congress. It's over 170 members that have co-sponsored the bill H.R. 40 with Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. And then Freedman's Bank, chartered by the United States Congress in March 1865 to provide a place for former slaves to freely or to safely store their money. Because they couldn't make money as slaves. So when they were freed, they had a chance to earn a living. But there were banks that didn't want to take their money, they would steal it. And so Congress, that same Congress that can sign reparations into law with President Biden's executive order, after several successful years in which the freedmen deposited more than $57 million in the bank, it collapsed in 1874 as a result of mismanagement and fraud. And Congress put the money into the hands of some bad people. There were a board of 50 white trustees. It's a fact, you can Google it. They were named to manage the bank's affairs. And they stole the money! You can't tell me that reparations is not necessary. You got to give that praise. I'm going to get into Big C's NFL picks. And every one of these sports teams, these teams owners, they should be pushing for reparations. Reparations now! Reparations forever! Because they made millions of dollars over the years off the black bodies, for the most part. And you know it's true. So I want to get into what's going on with Big C's. I'm telling you, NFL football, we're right here in week 13, and there's some big matchups. Give me some praise. I want you to know that. I want to always, on a beautiful December the 1st, 2023, I want to pay quick homage to my family legacy. I'll do it fast. My beautiful great-grandmother, Mama, beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family, lots of food in the belly. My great-granddaddy, called him Pop, former military man, former Negro League baseball player, always able to fix anything, planes, trains, and automobiles. And then my beautiful grandmother, Mud Dear, a beautiful, loving, kind woman, a seer. She could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. And then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another one of a person, a seer, could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. The best person I ever met in my life, always saying bright and shiny. On my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry, a former pastor. He owned 3 churches. He also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, one on Bancroft, the other on Foothill. But he owned 40 acres of land, like the Emancipation Proclamation. It was put together by Frederick Douglass and President Abraham Lincoln. A businessman. Really do appreciate him. My grandmother, Alberta Curry, worked side by side with my granddaddy in Oakland. With the 2 gas stations also running the 3 churches. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway at 10 o'clock at night. I felt someone touch me on my forehead, and she said, "What are you doing, young man? Are you going to get some more cookies?" I said, What are you doing up at Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." But you know, she let me get some cookies anyway. And she touched me on my forehead. She said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." And now I'm on 29 podcast platforms, actually more than that, and streaming on 4 TV platforms. One beautiful, intelligent black man. Really do appreciate her. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. Love, always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. And then I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. Todd to speak, always saying go forward. A voracious reader. Love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. She set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. We went on from there to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. You can be anything you want to be, Daisy. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. She also helped me set up when college coaches came to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. I'm so proud of you. You can be anything you want to be. And then my beautiful, handsome, love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, Daisy. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, a senior, very smart, erudite, a good man. You can be anything you want to be, Malcolm. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers, like a lot of people did back in the day, to look up stats on teams and players for the Big C Sports podcast. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. And then Malcolm one day said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. It comes up on the iHeartRadio app. It also comes up on Xfinity Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. At that time, it was not on the air. And a few weeks later, it was on the air. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then Big C with all that wealth and knowledge over the years, always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. So let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. It's been nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts, no delivery teleprompters, no producer in my ear, and I have no runners, but Big C Sports has been featured by CBS News. You can give that some praise. Big C Sports has been featured by NBC News. You can give that some praise. Big C Sports has been featured by the Associated Press about reparations in sports. You've got to give that praise. I want to get into Week 13 and Big C's thoughts on some NFL football. And I'm so excited because it's like the playoff weekend. Dallas already knocked off the Seahawks last night. It was 41-35. But I want to run to Sunday. Got a big game Sunday, December 3rd. Los Angeles Chargers 4-7 at the New England Patriots 2-9 at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. It's a 1:00 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. And the Chargers, they are favored by 5.5. The over-under is 40.5. The Chargers, sometimes they appear to be lost. I'm still going to pick them against the Patriots that seem to be playing for a first-round pick. You never would have thought that, but I think it's happening. And right now, I don't think the Patriots can beat a bowl of clam chowder, if that makes sense to you. Clam chowder! But you got to think about Bill Belichick. Maybe his last season coaching in New England, and is he going to coach the team to win? I don't really think so. I think Justin Herbert and company will have a good day against the good old boys from clam chowder. And then, that's called Clam Chowder, Massachusetts. And then the Detroit Lions at the New Orleans Saints. Detroit Lions 8-3. Who that say they're going to beat them Saints? Well, 6 teams so far because the Saints are 5-6. It's at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, 1:00 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox. And the Lions are favored by 4. The over-under is 47.5. I'm thinking I'm going to pick the Lions because they're a better team, despite the Saints ranking 9th in scoring defense this season at just 20 points per game. They've allowed 24 points per game and over 360 yards per game since week 6. That's 27th in the NFL. That's not going to get it done against the Lions. The Lions have scored at least 30 points in each of the last 4 games, and they will cover the spread. I got the Atlanta Falcons at 5-6 at the New York Jets. They are 4-7 at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, 1:00 p.m. East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the Falcons are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 34. Normally, you don't want a Falcon flying into a jet engine. It can cause problems. But at the same time, these Falcons, they fly above the Jets. Why am I picking the Falcons? Aaron Rodgers opened a 21-day practice window, meaning the 4-time MVP is eligible to return at any time now, less than 3 months after tearing his Achilles. He's not going to play. He's just not going to play in this game, but it's nice to have him out there. It's good for media. At the same time, the Jets defense that ranks 6th against the pass and 7th in takeaways, they're a pretty good team defensively. But I look at Atlanta's advantage on the ground. Bijan Robinson and company, they rank 4th in rushing, while the Jets' run defense ranks 31st. That tells you all you need to know, if that makes sense to you. I got the Falcons winning that game. I got the Arizona Cardinals 2-10 at the Pittsburgh Steelers 7-4 at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 1:00 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. The Steelers are favored by 5.5. The over/under is 41. Why am I taking the Steelers? The Steelers have been winning games they probably should have lost all season. At the same time, they'll combine that mojo into some actual offensive competence, and I think they'll take Kyler Murray and they'll put him back in his place, which is on the sideline, having them punt a lot in the game. When I think about the Steelers, they're a team that's been winning, some people say by luck. I think they've been winning because they've been physical. Now, the Cardinals' defense continue to be a problem. I take the Steelers to log their second straight old-fashioned victory, or they just wear you down, if that makes sense to you. I got the Indianapolis Colts 6-5 at the Tennessee Titans 4-7 at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. 1:00 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. And the Colts are a 1-point favorite. The over/under is 43. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence, but the Colts, in the midst of a 3-game win streak, they are 4-1 away from home, and they're just 2-4 at home. The Tennessee Titans are 4-0 in Nashville, but they're winners on the road. Something's got to give. When you think about Shane Steichen's defense has smothered 3 subpar offenses in consecutive weeks, you got to look at how, if you're at home, in my opinion, I know the Colts are favored by 1, but I'm gonna go with those good boys with the moonshine flows, and that's in Nashville. I got the Titans winning that game. That's my story that I'm taking with it. I got the Miami Dolphins 8-3 at the Washington Commanders 4-8 at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. 1:00 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the Miami Dolphins are a 9.5-point favorite. The over/under is 49.5, and I think they'll cover it. Oh, you out of your mind, Big C? The reason I think the Dolphins cover is Washington's having some problems. And Miami's one of the faster teams in the NFL. Washington right now, they seem to be in a tailspin. They've lost 3 in a row, including the last 2 by a combined score of 76-29. The Commanders right now, they can't stay on the field with the Dolphins. I think they'll get blown out of the water, if that makes sense to you. The Dolphins covering the spread in that one. I got the Denver Broncos 6-5 at the Houston Texans, also 6-5. This might be the best game of the day with 2 6-5 teams at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. 1:00 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. And the Texans are favored by 3.5. And the over/under is 47. And to me, the Texans, they should have won the game against Jacksonville last week. I think they will make up for what could have happened last week and get this win. And for the 3rd straight Sunday, the Texans are playing at home in Houston. And rookie sensation C.J. Stroud out of Rancho Cucamonga High School in California and Ohio State, he's been on track to become maybe the rookie of the year in the NFL. And when you think about what he's been able to do at home in 6 games, he's averaging 332 yards per game, 15-4 touchdown to interception ratios, and 109 passer ratings. Say no more. Houston, they have liftoff. Now, the Broncos come in there, and they've been playing well, but Denver's kicking off on the rare 3-game road trip. So in a battle of the first 2 teams out of the current AFC playoffs field, I'm telling you, I'm going to go with Houston to edge out, maybe by a field goal, if that makes sense to you. I got the Carolina Panthers 1-10 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4-7 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. It's a 4:05 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. The Buccaneers are favored by 5.5. The over/under is 37. And what am I saying about this game? The over/under is 37. The Buccaneers don't score a lot of points. The number one overall pick is struggling. The head coach just got fired 11 games into the season. Bryce Young could be better next year, but he's taking his lumps this year. At the same time, the Panthers remain the only organization without multiple wins this season. It's not going to happen down in Dimner Hills, Florida, otherwise known as Tampa Bay. I think Carolina is tied for first in yards per play, allowed at 4.3, and they're third in total defense at 259 yards per game. At the same time, they're down in the heat and humidity of Florida, even though it's wintertime, coming up on wintertime. I think I'm going to go with the good old boys from Tampa getting right, and I think they'll beat Carolina again, if that makes sense to you. I got Cleveland. This is for you. The Cleveland Browns 7-4 at the Los Angeles Rams 5-6 at SoFi Stadium in beautiful Inglewood, California, a 4:25 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. The Rams are favored by 3.5. The over-under is 40. Well, I'm going to tell you, the Browns would be a playoff team if the season ended today, which is more than the Rams can say. But Kevin Stefanski's squad, it might be coming to the wrong place at the wrong time. Because the good old boys in L.A., they beat up on the Cardinals at a season-high 228 rushing yards with Kyron Williams. And they didn't really need Matt Stafford to do his thing. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson, if he clears concussion protocol, and I don't think that he did, I think Joe Flacco's going to start in that game based on what I've researched. But the Rams right now, the defense is playing good football. I think the Rams win that game in Dimner Hills, California. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. What? That's your story? You're sticking with it? And now I got the game in Dimner Hills. We ask you to stand up for the kickoff and say reparations now, reparations forever. The game I can't wait to see is the game the NFL is talking about. From Dimner Hills, California, the San Francisco 49ers. They're in Dimner Hills, Pennsylvania. The Niners are 8-3 at Philadelphia, 10-1 at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. And the 49ers are favored by 3. What? 3? They're favored by 3. The over-under is 47.5. Now, the Eagles have struggled of late. And it's almost like fool's gold because you're going to travel across the East Coast, but the time's not going to affect them because it's a late game. There are a million different storylines going into this game. The 10-win Eagles being an underdog at home is certainly a big one. And touching on very few is the fact that the Eagles had to come from behind to beat Kansas City on the road, but they did. They had to come from behind to beat Buffalo at home in a driving rainstorm, but they did. But now here comes the boys from Dimner Hills. Since they've added Chase Young, they have 15 sacks in 3 games, along with Nick Bosa and Armstead up the middle. Now, there's a lot of talk surrounding Brock Purdy and his post-bye resurgence, and the 49ers return to Philadelphia. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, you have Trent Williams protecting the blind side for Purdy, and Christian McCaffrey is going to get his chest in the win for 100 yards. Not so fast, my friend, because Philadelphia has touchdown Jalen Hurts, whether he can continue being unfazed against the league's number 1 scoring defense, and few quarterbacks are playing better than touchdown Jalen Hurts over the last 6 weeks. He scored 17 total touchdowns in that span, but they struggled to beat the Cowboys. But they won. They struggled to beat the Chiefs. But they won on the road. They struggled to beat the Bills. But they won in overtime in consecutive games. It also appears that they're playing a team that's picking from the West Coast. And I know Hurts has won 5 straight games when trailing by 10 or more points. They're not gonna have such force in this time because there's gold in Dimner Hills, and rumor has it even Jerry Rice might shoot up. Rumor has it Joe Montana's going to be watching this game. I think the 49ers going to Philadelphia, and they do what they should have done last year. They have the best talent in the league. I know Philadelphia is tough, and the 49ers travel, so they'll have a good fan base in Philadelphia. It's going to be a raucous crowd, but when you tell me Las Vegas has the 49ers as a 3-point favorite on the road at Philadelphia, it's almost like a fool's bet. But Buffalo should have won. Kansas City should have won. And Dallas had a chance to win. The 49ers destroyed Dallas, and then they had a tailspin when Deebo got hurt, McCaffrey got hurt, Trent Williams got hurt. Those guys are all back now. I think the 49ers going there because the game is late We don't have the jet lag to deal with. And I think the 49ers going to Philadelphia and they cover the spread. I think they win by a touchdown. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. From Denver Hills, California. And then you gotta say who that say they're gonna beat them Packers. Kansas City Chiefs, 8-3 at the Green Bay Packers, 5-6. We're at Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. 8 o'clock, actually 8:20 p.m. to kick off East Coast time on NBC Sports and Universal NFL Plus. The Chiefs are favored by 6. The over-under is 42.5. And remember the Super Bowl 1 down in Los Angeles? It was also the Chiefs and the Packers. Well, I'm going to go tell you my reason why the Chiefs will win, but it may not be as easy as that 6-point favorite, because the Chiefs are one of the best teams in the NFL at not covering the spread. Now, the Chiefs, they waited long ago and far, far away to revenge Super Bowl 1. But now their offensive breakthrough in the second half of last week will carry over to this match that resembles what happened in Super Bowl 1 in Los Angeles. I trust their defense, even against an improving Jordan Love. And December trips to Lambeau Field are not as pleasant for teams that don't play in that kind of weather. But I think touchdown Patrick, there's no place like Mahomes on Sunday night, is going to get his groove going. And it could be tough for Patrick Mahomes again, because oftentimes they don't cover the spread for some reason. 800 gambler, in my opinion. But Steve Spagnuolo's defense, which ranks in the top 5 in scoring defense and yards allowed per game, I think Kansas City goes into Green Bay. They're favored by 6, and they probably win by 5, because that's just how things go in the NFL, if that makes sense to you. Got Monday, December 4th, the Cincinnati Bengals 5-6 at the Jacksonville Jaguars, a game of predators. They're 8-3 at Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, Florida. 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, and NFL Plus. The Jaguars are favored by 8.5, and the over-under is 39. The Bengals are all banged up. Jake Browning will be the starting quarterback versus Trevor Lawrence for Jacksonville. I think this is the game of the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all the exotic meat. And the Jaguar exotic meat. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I think when you look at a team in Jacksonville, outside of being blown out by the 49ers, they've actually got the win over Houston last week, and they're playing good. They're playing good football. And Jake Browning did not have his moments last week in the first NFL start. He produced, but he didn't. He got to get better. But I think Jacksonville is just a much better team. The Bengals struggle to sustain drive and avoid costly mistakes. And then Joe Mixon had 16 yards on 8 carries. What's up with their blocking scheme? I think Jacksonville wins this game, and I think they cover the spread. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. We know what happened with the Cowboys last night. They had a 41-35 win over the good old boys from Seattle. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, now I want to get into some college football, because everybody has their own thoughts about these championship games. Tonight we have the big game in the last, so far, championship game of the Pac-12 with Oregon and Washington. I don't like what's happening to college football right now, where they're chasing money, and these super conferences don't always tend to work. But we'll see what happens. They're going to try to get their reparations now as they get the money tonight. Number 3, Washington Huskies versus the number 5, Oregon Ducks. And the point spread has gone between 9.5 and 10 coming out of Las Vegas. The Huskies ran the table in the regular season. They've gone 12-0 for the first time since the 1991 Washington Huskies won the national championship, and they split that with the Miami Hurricanes. At the same time, you got to look at these quarterbacks. Michael Penix Jr. is banged up. He's completing less than 60% of his passes since beating Oregon in mid-October. And the Ducks have been like quack, 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 quack. They've been quacking everybody lately for 6 weeks, and are playing as well as any team in the country. Bo Nix is gunning for the Heisman Trophy, and the Oregon Ducks has its best pass defense in the Pac-12. It's hard to be good enough to beat a good team twice. Oregon should have won the first game, but Lanning kicked 3 field goals. I went for it 3 times on 4th and 1 when he could have just taken 3 field goals. They lost by 2. They could have won by 7, if that makes sense to you. I think Dan Lanning maybe learned a lot from that last year, or earlier in the year up in Seattle. This game is in Las Vegas, and I think Oregon wins, and I think they cover the spread because that's just the way they're playing. Oklahoma, and that puts Oregon in the national championship playoffs. Number 19, Oklahoma State at number 7. Texas favored by 14.5. And the Longhorns, they hammered a team blasting Texas Tech by 50 in the game. They could have legitimately dropped over 70 if they did not settle for field goals. And tonight, Mike Gundy, I'm 40. I'm a man. I think Texas scores over 40 against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The Longhorns' run defense ranks number 5 nationally, just 3 yards per carry. And the thing for Texas was going to win the Big 12 championship in the last year in the Big 12. And I think they'll cover the spread. But coming up, if Texas wins the Big 12, and they only have one loss on this season, and that's in the Red River Shootout to Oklahoma, is there an argument that the Big 12 champion gets into college football playoffs? If Oregon wins, they're in. If Texas wins, they're not necessarily in. But I'll hold my thoughts at the end of these big thoughts here. I have, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Florida State's ranked 4 in the country. They play number 15, Louisville. Florida State's only a 2.5-point favorite. Most of college football sees to be rooting for Jeff Brom and the Cardinals to engineer an upset over Florida State. Florida State was on the ropes against Florida last week, and they pulled it off. Even without Jordan Travis, the numbers seems to be people don't want to see Florida State playing for a national championship. Wide right! At the same time, if they go undefeated, how do you keep out an ACC champion? I'll tell you how you keep them out. They're only 2.5-point favorite against a team in Florida. Florida State, Louisville lost last week to Kentucky. I think the BCS wants to keep them out. I got number 2 Michigan versus number 18 Iowa, that favored by 21.5. Is Iowa going to even score more than 10 points in this game? The Hawkeyes over-under points total this game is 6.5. I think they'll get 10 points. They were held to just a field goal in this game in 2021. Michigan's been a better defense. They've been a better offense. Iowa ranks in the 120 or worse in scoring yards per play. Michigan is rolling. They beat Ohio State last week in the big game. And Michigan right now, they're right where they were last year with a chance to play for the national championship. I don't think there's any way they let this get away. I think Michigan rolls in this game, and I think they're going to cover the spread. Well, those are the teams that I want to talk about. Now, let me go back to the talk of Texas. If they win out, and they're going to try to win out. But I got to tell you, there's a big game with Georgia, ranked number 1 in the country, and they're playing Alabama. No matter what they're ranked, some people have them at number 6 in the country. Alabama's better than number 6 in the country. At the same time, if Alabama does what a lot of people feel, that's to knock off Georgia. Because Nick Saban usually wins big games in Atlanta, kind of their second home. If they can knock off Georgia, it would just drop Georgia to number 4 in the polls. Even though they've been number 1 all year long. And I think Alabama's poised to win this game in the SEC championship game. And everybody has their own opinion about it. It doesn't matter what I think. What matters is who wins the game. But I'm gonna go with Alabama beating Georgia to win the SEC championship, the way they did last time they played them. And then they turned around and lost the national championship game to that same Georgia team. But that's my story. I think from the SEC, you can have Alabama as an SEC champion. They're 6-point underdogs. Georgia's been giving up touchdowns early in the games. Alabama's been playing much better football down the stretch. Outside of the rival game against Auburn, I think Alabama's going to win this game. And I'm going to have Oregon. They're going to have Michigan number 1 in the rankings. They'll probably put Oregon at number 2. And they'll put Alabama in at number 3. And they'll put Georgia at number 4. What? And what do people in Texas say? Texas beat Alabama at Alabama, I think 34-14. So the argument for Texas to get in over Alabama, it has a lot of merit. But I think the SEC is a tougher conference than the Big 12. And then what about an undefeated Florida State? Will they get in? Who wants to see Florida State without their star quarterback? They're only favored by 2.5 over Louisville, the team that lost to Kentucky last week. So their stock is dipping. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And I'm going to give whoever wins some praise. All straight, never more. I want to close out in some college football. The way that I think all the football is going, the FCS, they figured it out how to get more than just 4 teams to compete for a championship. And no matter what people think, we have some good, exciting football. And they have a field of 24 teams that play. And the school can host sites until the championship game this January 7th at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. No matter what you think, Chattanooga 8-4 at number 7 seed, Furman 9-2. You got a lot of good athletes in these games. And also, I want to bring up to you, I think Furman's going to win that game over Chattanooga. You got Sacramento State that I predict as the eventual national champion. They're 8-4 at number 3 seed, South Dakota. And they're 9-2. And that's a 2 p.m. kickoff in a dome in South Dakota. It's going to be on ESPN. When you watch Sacramento State's quarterback, Caden Bennett, he will be in the NFL someday. He reminds me so much of Russell Wilson right now for the Denver Broncos. I got Sacramento State winning that game. And then North Dakota State 9-3 at number 6 seed, Montana State 8-3. And that's at Bobcat Stadium in Bozeman, Montana. I'm going to say Montana wins that game because they're at home. And sometimes they get a little bit of home cooking. If you like home cooking, especially for the holidays, you got Montana State winning that game over North Dakota State. And then Delaware 9-3 at number 2, Montana 10-1. And if you think about the Grizzly Stadium in Missoula, Montana, it's a great site for about 25,000 fans. I think they're going to carry that torch. You might need a torch to stay warm in that weather. Montana's going to beat Delaware. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. And everybody has their own thoughts about it. I want to give that some praise because I think they do it the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and I think they're going to do it the right way. Everybody has their own thoughts about what's going on in the world of sports. I love the fact that we have the chance to play for national championships. But what I also want to close out on, NBA basketball, obviously they're playing the tournaments to try to, it's just kind of early right now with so many college football games that are big, and then NFL's big. I'll get into NBA more after the college football season is over. But I want to finish out on the National Black Wall Street Project. Because a mind is a terrible thing to raise, I want to give that some praise. You know, it'd be great when the country finally does what President Abraham Lincoln said. And that's to pay out reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. And with Big C Sports, Charlton Curry, part of the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project in the largest state in United States, that's California. Black Wall Street is so important. It's about economic empowerment, justice, and equality for all. You know, the same kind of economic power that these colleges are making by being sent to bowl games. Black Wall Street, the global project, is on a mission to elevate our community with a sense of righteousness and economic education for people of color, descendants of African, I'm going to say descendants of chattel slavery, for over 50 years of experience contributing towards community growth, adept at amplifying economic recovery for international stability. And I love being a part of that. You got to give that praise. And the president and CEO of the inimitable Reverend Tony Pierce, president of the National Black Wall Street Project. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. We want to create an environment of generational wealth, equality, and educated minds, as well as lucrative economic changes. And we organize and educate for reparations now, reparations forever. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft. You can walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car after they've been drinking and driving. The life you say may be your own. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, you know what time it is. As you stand up for the kickoff, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Jubal Didi Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because all of that listening to Big C Sports screaming makes me want to say reparations now, reparations forever. And I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. My beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911. Because things change when the police show up. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage. What did George Bush say? He said, hit me once, shame on you. You're not gonna hit me again. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap. Just pick up the phone, call 911 if the person was that stupid. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now you know what time it is as you stand up for the kickoff. I want to wish everyone a very happy Friday, and maybe all find something to cheer about. But I want to honor President Abraham Lincoln when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, say it louder like your team has won the game. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell Congress and President Joe Biden to do? He said, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Come on, maybe the NFL, if we say it loud enough, they'll listen up too. In the NBA, and even college sports. When he says sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.